Hi, my name is Emily Stewart, and I wrote my paper on religious dissent in England during Elizabeth I's reign. And I chose to do this topic because in my thesis I'm looking at a portrait of Elizabeth that was discovered in Manteo, North Carolina, and its significance is that it's her appearing very old and wrinkly and not youthful and virginal. Well, maybe virginal, but not so youthful. And these were the types of portraits that she did not like and allow to exist during her reign. So I'm trying to figure out if religion would have something to do with the existence of this portrait and how it survived for this long. And so what I decided to do was study her relationship with Catholics and Puritans during the time of the Reformation to see what types of changes to public policy and to the Reformed Church their relationships had between each other, and to see if that would make any sense with my thesis. My paper is entitled It Liked Us Not, Elizabeth I and Religious Dissent, and I begin with the history of Tudor reform starting with Henry VIII, and then I move on to Elizabeth's religious settlement, and I get into Catholic dissent, and then what her government did and reacted to that Catholic dissent, and then I get into conservative Protestantism, which is basically becomes Puritanism, and then the government reaction to the Puritan dissent, and then conclusion of what I find about what Elizabeth does. Elizabeth came to power after her sister Mary, her Catholic sister Mary, and had to kind of decide what she wanted to do for a religious settlement and bringing back Protestantism. And she didn't want to cause any waves or make any trouble to begin with. And she piecemealed a settlement from her brother's previous reign, Edward VI, and her father, Henry VIII. And she was very much her father's daughter in that she was not ready or willing to get rid of all of the Catholic ceremony, but she was willing to get with the program with the new religion that her brother put into play after her father, which was much more in line with the Protestant notion. And this is going to cause some problems between her Catholic and her Protestant subjects because she wasn't willing to commit to either side fully. When looking at the Catholics, I examined a few events in the documents from the Northern Rebellion, the Earls of Northumberland and Westmoreland, the excommunication by Pope Pius V, the Papal Bull. I looked at a little bit of Mary Stuart, not many documents, but her experience with the problem of Mary Stuart and the Jesuits who were coming into England and causing some trouble for her. What I found was that things were more extreme with the Catholics, which would make sense. After the Northern Rebellion caused a big problem and they put it down, the excommunication from Pope Pius V came, and it basically gave Catholics the excuse not to obey her authority, and in fact, if they did obey the authority, they were threatened with excommunication. So it was very threatening to her rule and her overall well-being. So her government responded, basically making opposition to her religiously treason, and the Jesuits are really going to aggravate this type of issue that they were having, and more documents are going to come out basically putting Catholicism in the same hand as sedition and treason, and it was pretty extreme. I got into the Puritans a little bit. I haven't gotten all the way there yet, but it's much less extreme, but the problems with her not willing to change her religious settlement to something more reformed, more in line with Calvinist thought, made them very upset as well. And they wrote pamphlets, and there was propaganda, and some people even addressed her directly, with their unhappiness about it. And And when they realized that she wasn't going to change anything, that's when the hardlining Protestants kind of made that split from the moderate Protestants, and we get the Puritans. So basically, what Elizabeth is dealing with is two minority groups on the opposite end of the spectrum disagreeing with her policies, some more to the extreme by actually rebelling against her, some just making it known how unhappy they are. But the majority of the people in her realm are willing to kind of go along with whatever she wants to do. She is the ruler after all. She's on an island. There's Catholic threat outside, but she's basically in charge, and that's kind of the important thing to also note about this issue that's going on. If there's one thing that Elizabeth knows, it was how to survive. She saw the good and the bad with each of her family members' religious decisions, and she chose to execute a religion that she was in charge of and that was acceptable to most people. So, knowing this, and knowing how heated and extreme both sides of the religion coin could be, I don't think that this painting that I mentioned in the beginning would characteristically be something that either side would have painted or harbored. I feel like they would have chosen definitely something more satirical and harsh. So I'm glad that I came to find that out, but now I have to do even more research. And these are my sources. I don't have the Puritan sources in there yet, and that's where I'm at right now. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day.